everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and tonight I just got back from watching Borderlands, the movie based on the hit video game series. We're gonna go into all that, but first thing I want to start off by saying is that I am not someone who has played the Borderlands video games. I don't know the lore, I don't know the story, I don't know much about the characters. All I know is through osmosis, it's through seeing things on social media, seeing the box cover when I go into GameStop back in the day. Like I know the imagery of it. I know the mask, I know Claptrap the robot guy, I know it's a shooter. That's pretty much all I know about it. Okay, so watching a movie adaptation of a video game that I don't know much about, I feel like I'm coming at this at somewhat of a unique perspective, especially here on YouTube, where I think most people played the video game series back in the day, so they are going to look at this through that lens. But also that means that when it comes to talking about how good of an adaptation this is, I can't really speak on that. I can only come at this as a movie on its own. So the other thing, and this is something that I really noticed on the lead up to this film. So there was very little marketing in this movie, right? In the lead up to this movie, I saw the trailer for it maybe a handful of times when I went to go see various movies in theaters, but I saw virtually no presence on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or anywhere else. I didn't see trailers or a social media presence of any kind, and it was kind of shocking. And that's usually an indication that the studio does not have, much faith in this. When you don't see a lot of promotion, when you don't see a lot of money going into the marketing, that's usually kind of a sign. And for comparison's sake, let's look at, none other than Deadpool and Wolverine, which just came out, and obviously it's the biggest movie ever right now. Think about how much marketing was put into that. You cannot scroll on any social media platform more than 5 or 6 posts before you come across a Deadpool and Wolverine something. Someone is talking about it, some account is talking about all the little scenes and all the cameos and all the Easter eggs and all the it was hyped up to all hell, and not just by fans but by the studio itself. Whereas this movie feels like it came out as a secret and no one even remembered that it existed until it was out today, and it's oh, that's right, it exists. And I know that even further because I have people at work who are fans of Borderlands, the video games, and I mentioned oh, I'm watching the movie today, and they're like, there's a movie? The people who are fans of this series didn't even know it existed. So that tells me a lot about just the studio's belief in this thing. So let's just talk about the movie itself. Okay, so first I will say this up front. This is not a horrible movie. Okay, it's not some kind of Morbius style disaster piece. It's not an epic trash fire. I will say it is probably the most generic paint by numbers version of what this could possibly have been. Everything is ultra predictable. All the costumes, I'm not trying to say this in a way that sounds really offensive to cosplayers, but the costumes look like cosplay, and I just mean that they don't look like they were made with the budget of millions of dollars, right? It looks like someone, granted, someone who puts a lot of work into it, but a normal person made these costumes, not this did not have a whole department behind it. And I don't know, I mean, they see, from what I remember of the video games, and just through osmosis of seeing images of them, they do look like the video games, but it looks very fake. I don't know how else to put this, but it looks like cosplay, and it's kind of distracting throughout parts of the film. Even the soldiers running around with their guns, these like basically not stormtroopers but stormtroopers, and it just looks very fake. The CG looks fake, the costumes look really bad and fake, and they're too polished, and they try to add, you know, a little bit of dirt and grime to them, but like you can tell that like it's just so purposefully added. Like even like someone who's supposed to have a bunch of scars and battle damage on them, it just looks too perfect, and I'm like, it just doesn't look right, you know. I don't know, that's just me. And also the story, and again, I can't speak to how accurate this is to the lore of the actual video game series, but it is so generic and so like, oh, there's a planet and there's this vault that everyone's trying to get into, and of course there's a prophecy and there's a chosen one, and the whole time the movie's trying to convince you that the chosen one is this little kid, but it's very, very obvious what the twist is gonna be, so much so that like when it happens you're like, well, yeah, no shit. You know what I mean? Like it's not even like a little bit like, oh man, are they gonna do this? Like this is clearly, this is what's happening. The other thing is that this movie feels like someone had watched the first Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Suicide Squad, they saw Captain Marvel, and maybe a couple other movies, and they're like, we're gonna smash all of this into one movie, and that's what this is. Because I'm not joking, it feels like, oh, we have Guardians of the Galaxy at home, and that's what this is. And then the very end of it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now, Cate Blanchett is the main character of this movie, and at the end of it she gets superpowers and she's flying around all glowing and stuff. I don't know if that's in the games, but it looks like Captain Marvel. She's glowing very similar to how Captain Marvel glows. She even flies towards a spaceship and tries to take it down, and I'm like, it just feels like you watched a couple movies that were really popular back in 2018, 2017, and then they made this movie, and now this movie came out years afterwards, which I had to look it up. Apparently this movie finished filming in like 21, 22, and so like for some reason it's just been like delayed or sitting on a shelf somewhere. I don't know what's been going on. It's really late coming out. I don't know if it's rewrites or what, but the other thing is that this just feels like a movie that was supposed to have existed in 2016 or 2017, and it was buried underground, and then someone just found it and they're like, oh, we never released this. It looks just like all these other movies that came out around the same time, and yet somehow we forgot to release this movie. I guess we'll release it now. Don't bother marketing it. And that's what we have here. Even the poster that you might be looking at now, even the poster looks like that era of Suicide Squad, that very first one. Like it just, I don't know. It's not a horrible movie, but it is definitely the most generic paint by numbers version of other movie things that you've seen before, all put into one. And is that what the game is? I kind of doubt it. I'm gonna go look up what the story of the game is, because this doesn't feel like it. And the other thing that, and this is just me again, but so Kevin Hart is, I guess, a co-lead in this movie. Even though he's in the marketing a lot, what little marketing there was, it feels like Kevin Hart was kind of all over this, along with Jack Black playing Claptrap. I was reminded suddenly, like, wait a minute, this is the Jumanji crew. And again, around that era, when did those movies come out? 2017, 2018, something like that. And again, it feels like a movie from that era, because we even have some of those cast members. It feels like some executive somewhere was trying to capitalize on a very specific time, and it came out maybe 4 or 5 years too late. But even that, the Borderlands movies, or I'm sorry, the Borderlands video games, as far as I remember them, those were really popular around 2014, 2013. Like, we are probably about a decade too late to hit like at the peak of when you know, you could have maximized on the popularity of the franchise, right? Like we are past that point. I haven't heard anyone in the video game space really talk about Borderlands in a while. You know, I don't know if like have they come out with a game lately? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know because I haven't followed the franchise, but you usually hear about these things when a popular franchise comes out with a new title. Word usually gets around. And I haven't heard Borderlands mentioned in a long time, so I don't know, guys. I don't know. This movie, it's just a really weird thing that exists now. You know, it's not horrible. I think a lot of people are looking at the Rotten Tomatoes, and I think I saw it has like a 6% or something. And you know, they're gonna bash it. They're gonna laugh. They're gonna be like, ha ha ha! Look how trash this movie is. And that's my thing about it, is like, it's not actually like this horrible garbage film. It's just so, it's just a nothing. It's just a nothing. You've seen this before. If you've seen any movie in the past 10 years, then you've already seen this movie. You can predict everything that's about to happen. You're just gonna see it, you know, with a different skin on, I guess, and probably not as funny, and the characters aren't as likable, and they try their best to be like, oh, look at this rogue group of not quite heroes, aren't they just such a quirky bunch? And I'm like, I don't know, we've done this a handful of times. We have those characters already. We don't need to have this, you know. It's too late. It's too late. I don't know, that's just me. But anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys think about Borderlands, the movie. Are you fans of the video game series? Do you know, have you seen any marketing for this? Are you excited for this? Because I certainly have not seen really anything leading up to it. I saw maybe one trailer, and I remember hearing the cast list, and I remember seeing like little snippets of it back in like, you know, 2021. And so to me, I'm still like, I still want to go research, like, was this heavily delayed because of, you know, COVID? Was it delayed because of the writer's strike? What exactly happened behind the scenes of this movie? Because this definitely feels like one that, like, we're gonna read an article of like, oh yeah, this is one of many movies that, I don't know, so and so producer worked on, and there was some kind of, you know, drama, so they had to like delay it or quiet it down or something. I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about Borderlands, the movie, the video game series, and how you feel about this in general. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.